Hello and welcome to the CRM Zen show where we talk about all things Zoho. This is episode 176, Sridhar and the Furious, Zohyo Drift, recorded on Friday, December 10th, 2021 from Zenatta Consulting. I'm Brett Martin.
And I'm Tyler Colt, and let's get right on into the show.
All righty here. So as always, we'll start with our news and events. If you have not, please vote for the Zenmies. The Zenmies are our annual survey. We give away these beautiful awards, Tyler, to all of the people at Zoho and developers who deserve them. Go ahead and vote for your favorite Zoho application, your favorite telephony solution, your favorite marketplace application, and then choose some other applications that are going to round out our finalists in this. So we're really looking forward to that this year. So head over to zenatta.com/Zenmies and vote. That Zenme Award show is going to be on the 22nd of December at 10 a.m. It's a big one. It's our year in review. It's the Zenmies. It's our Christmas wish list, which we had one granted that we're going to talk about. Santa snuck it in just so I didn't get to complain about it for the third straight year. And as always, head over to the events page. That's where we do everything. We keep track of everything there. Everything Zoho is doing, everything other partners are doing, everything we're doing. You can register for the events and get all the information on all of those events. And with that, before we jump directly into the news, Tyler, we have an announcement. Yes, Club Zenatta is officially launching, I guess today, huh? It was going to be Monday, but I guess we're good to go. So if you want to head over to club.zenatta.com, this is an area where basically it's kind of I guess an area we're going to share code snippets over there, if you remember. So as we go through, we're going to be dropping in weekly code snippets, things that you can use to improve some automations or functions inside your CRM. We've got a general chat discussion where you can talk about various things that are going on in the world of Zoho, talk to other people about maybe something you're doing, something maybe you want to have help with, kind of a community for people just to chat with each other about various things in the Zoho world. And there's going to be some other benefits for joining it. We've got some discounts coming down on one of the top Zoho training courses that's out there. We'll be announcing that in the upcoming weeks. And as we're going to layer on benefits slowly as this thing gets going, it is free. So just head over to club.zenatta.com and click on that register button and get going. So we hope to see everybody over there as we continue to grow that thing in 2022. I was going to call it Club Penguin. It was taken, Tyler. So it's Club Zenatta.
The coolest place to hang out.
I know, man, but I want to be one of those penguins sliding down one of those ice mountains, you know? No, I don't. So those of you who don't know.
Is that what you dream about at night there, Brett?
That's it, man. You know, anyone who had kids of a certain age back in the early 2000s remembers, I think it launched in 2005. It was a huge thing that Disney put out. I just found out they shut it down in 2017. So it had like a 12-year run. But there are hack servers out there, so you can find Club Penguin. I hear, though, they're not as nice as the Disney version. So anyway, we promise to keep Club Zenatta nice and clean and just good family fun over at Club Zenatta. Anyway, hope to see you there. And with that, Tyler, let's get right on into the news. ManageEngine is having a bad quarter. So if you're unfamiliar, ManageEngine is basically Zoho's patch management tool, remote management service for device management. And there have just been a few attacks on it, a lot of zero-day attacks, and mostly all around Windows. And anyway, so if you're using it, Zoho's got an exploit detection tool that you can get and check it out. They've patched it and patched it and patched it. But this is something that you need to be aware of and get out there and make sure that you have the very latest patched version of ManageEngine. All righty then. And in other news, Zoho Books got their December updates. Anything nice in here, Tyler?
I think just a couple things. Most of these are kind of around accounting and taxes. So if you wanted to create multiple different number series for a specific transaction number, so that'd be like your sales order number, your invoice number, you can now assign actual multiple different versions of a number series that you can use. Kind of nice if you got different types of orders coming in, one sold by sales reps versus one sold on a website, right? You might want a different naming convention for those. Looks like Global Edition is getting some tax relationship to specific accounts. That's definitely nice if you are doing global business. You know that a customer in the US versus a customer in Europe are going to be subject to different taxes. Then uniquely for the Saudi Arabia edition, they're rolling out e-invoicing. There's definitely been one that's around for a while for everybody else, but I think here now, if you are in the Saudi Arabia edition, you can have those digitally payable invoices, which is definitely a huge benefit of using something like Zoho Books.
Yeah, I guess this was mandated by the kingdom on December 4th. So
Very
excellent. Nice. Yeah, just some other small localized
PDFs and things like that you're able to generate.
Nothing big, but Zoho Books continues to improve, which is always a good thing. And speaking of continuous improvement, Zoho Backstage has now got their virtual exhibitor management, which is super, super nice. So you can manage so much inside. Of course, you're managing your attendees, but now maybe you want to manage your exhibitors. You can have an exhibitor page on your website. You can put all that information in. You can all of what the prices they paid for the booths, kind of the full ability to manage your exhibitors, publish your exhibitors out there so people know who's coming, all of that information. So if you haven't looked at Backstage for running an event, and I know what you're going to say, Tyler, there's another big benefit as well. It really is good.
Yeah, and I think this one is probably coming up here on, hopefully doing a Zoholic sometime in 2022. They're kind of rounding out their own functionality that they're going to be using, right, for showing all those various exhibitors that are going to show up. And then as always, our PSA on Zoho Backstage, they do not take a commission on your ticket sales. So if you are running an event and you are selling tickets, it might be worth taking a look at. Someone like Eventbrite, I think they take 5 or 10% of ticket sales. So save yourself a little bit of that commission fee and, sell your tickets at a better price.
All right. And then in other Zoho news, Zoho CRM field accessibility and reporting hierarchy enhancements.
And these here are, these are specific to user lookup fields. So they kind of did a couple specific things here. So you've always been able to add a custom user field, and then you have your default user fields like a record owner and the link to whichever user was the one that created it. So what you can do now is that you can say that if you have a user field and you are looking up a user, and normally that user would not have access to edit that record, you can say that if I've linked them in a user field, I want them to be able to edit this record. So it's kind of a specific use case around like a sharing permission. The example they give here is maybe if you were building homes or doing real estate and you had architects as a user in the CRM, and you really only need them involved or making edits if they are the chosen architect for a certain project. Once you've associated them, they'll be able to take those actions. The other little minor thing that they did is that now if you're using merge fields related to that particular user field, so let's say you want to include a name and an email, you can pull in the user that the linked user is reporting to into an email template. So if you had some type of case escalation and you wanted the escalation email to come from the manager of whoever is taking that case, you could actually automate that now using the little reporting to tag. So definitely a nice one. I think the only last little thing around these user fields that they do need to add, so if you're listening Zoho, pretty please, it'd be great to filter who is going to show up in a user field. We have a lot of companies and, as you grow your team, you've got 60, 70, 80 users in the CRM, right? Picking a user out of a list or choosing a record owner even and not being able to filter by role or any of those different criteria can be a little bit cumbersome. But these are nonetheless great changes.
No, it's nice. We haven't seen anything around this type of, enhancements to the CRM in a very long time. So
yeah, I mean, anything that we can do to get more control over permissions, right, is always great to have.
I mean, this could also, in a way, I guess, I don't know, You can't do a mass update of this though, Ken. You can't do a mass update of a user field.
I don't believe you can. No, you can fill them with a script though.
You could, because that's one of the problems is you still can't mass share records, right? You have to share records one at a time. Did they ever change the mass share?
I think
records?
You can from a list view now, I believe. Maybe someone in the chat could tell me I'm wrong, but I think you can.
Yeah, I thought you couldn't, because if there was any way to, mass sharing has always been a problem. So I'm glad that's changed. But if not, you could do this and then run a script and kind of share it that way, right? Could kind of get around that.
Any home within these zip codes goes to this architect by default, things like that.
Yeah. All right. And then moving on to our next story. And man, it finally happened. You can now drop a Subform into an email template and an inventory template, but the email template is the biggie. We've been waiting for this since the initial announcement of Subforms back in April of 2019. And
17, I think, wasn't it? Or 2018?
17? Oh, I think it was a long time ago.
2018.
Anyway, 18, a long time. Yeah, you're right. It was the one before 18 or 17. And this has just been something where you always want to do it. You want to be able to send an email, drop Subform in. You can now do it. Super nice. One thing we did notice around this is it appears you cannot do it if your template is HTML. So if you just choose that
plain text, you've got to use one of the more templated types.
You have to use one of their templates. Now you can use a blank template and build it and go from there, but you can drop a Subform in. Hallelujah. Gods have shined down upon us. So this is going to make things. We've done some crazy workarounds for this, haven't we?
I think the most recent one we've been doing is, and this is credit to Josh, is that if you make a mail merge template, you can put a Subform into a mail merge template. Then you can download that mail merge template as a PDF and then send it in an email as an inline PDF so that it does display the Subform. There's just tons of uses of this. You might have a Subform in your deal where you're putting together some products. And after a meeting, you want to send them a quick follow-up email that says, hey, here's the products I have down. Please let me know if I need to adjust any of these, right? Or maybe you're taking meeting notes in a custom record. There's just all these different use cases where you want to be able to drop in a kind of table of data like this.
Yep. This is a big one. I mean, every single year it's been on our Christmas wish list of things we really just want Zoho to do. So thank you, Zoho. I really appreciate it. I think I'm almost down to just a couple more things now, right? It's just get notebook. Let me save a notebook to CRM, and then, well, I have nothing left to complain about. I don't even know. All righty. Okay. So moving. Also, Josh points out that you can't pull a Subform from a related list. It's got to be directly in the record. So if you're doing an email template, it's got to be in that record, which can be problematic because you can only have 2 Subforms per page. And oftentimes to get around that, we make a linking module that maybe has some other Subforms in it. So, hey, the Lord giveth, the Lord taketh away, but it's a good step in the right direction. All right. And moving on, this is super nice. Basically in Zoho Recruit, you can now do a select records or select all and perform certain functions you couldn't do before, such as update them. And this is big. So, you come in and you basically want to say, no, I'm rejecting all of these people. And why am they were, rejected by the recruiter. You've got all your various statuses you want to do. You had to go into each record, click on it, make that adjustment, do it. So the ability to now mass update selected records inside of Zoho Recruit is a super nice thing.
And it looks like here they've also added the select all records in this view button that you'll be familiar with in the CRM. So if you did have a couple hundred, you don't have to go page to page to page to select all of them.
Yep. So it's good. About time. All righty. And moving on with the news, Zoho Inventory has gotten a facelift to its UI. They're calling it a major facelift. I don't know.
I call it a minor reorganization.
I would call it that too. I think it's a little minor.
Yeah, basically
we called it a major in our headline here.
Yeah.
We're calling it major. Yeah.
Maybe we need to adjust that a little bit.
Major overhaul. Yeah, I will say it's a minor overhaul. overall.
So a couple things they
Tony.
did, they renamed the like master list for items to inventory. So now the little inventory section is going to cover your items, item groups, composite, and inventory adjustments. They've done some grouping for sales and purchases as kind of expand and collapse modules. This is identical to books. So rather than having a top level line item for customers, sales orders, packages, you now have a sales expandable section that you can expand out and see those. Again, if you're using books, we'll be very familiar, but they're just kind of bringing it into line. I think it's cleaner that way, so you don't have to see all these modules if you don't care about them at the time. Yeah, not as much of an overhaul as kind of some tweaks here, bring it into parity with books. And then lastly, they've now added a section to expand out all of your different sales channels. So if you've got things selling through Amazon and Shopify, they're going to go into their own section and you can expand that and view them that way.
Good stuff. All righty then. And moving along, Zoho Mail in the iOS version, you can actually save to files, which is nice. So if you're in Zoho Mail, you've got an attachment, you'd like to save it to your file folder on your phone, you can. That's a big deal. Thank you. Glad they've added that. Normally, you've
also added share, it looks like, for an attached file. So if I wanted to grab that file and send it as a click message or a text, I could do that just through the iOS interface.
Super nice. Super nice. The Mail app on iOS is really good. I like it a lot. And moving right along, Zoho Sprint for Android, the Android app, has added quick actions and feeds. Nothing to, again, just kind of some minor little updates here. Feeds are nice because you have them on the Sprint, on Zoho Sprints anyway. The quick actions are going to save you some time. So I don't have really much more to say about this.
Yeah, it's one of those apps that we don't find ourselves using too often. It seems like most people that are really into the sprints methodology are just all using Jira. So it's pretty rare that we find ourselves really deploying this app for people. And that's not to say that it isn't good, but it's just one of those ones that we don't see a ton of usage in.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a few software development companies. They're the ones that are, if they do use it, they're the ones that are using it. But you're right, it's not a whole lot there. And also there's a rundown of everything that happened over in the world of Zoho WorkDrive in 2021. This is a blog over on the Zoho blog site. And we've talked about all of it, but WorkDrive has made such major improvements. We'll cover more of this on our year in review. Man, they've done a lot with WorkDrive this year. It just goes on and on. They've got to.
We love it.
Can't say
internally. I mean, there's so many great use cases for making and storing files as part of your CRM workflow that are just so elegant to do in WorkDrive. Last little thing they got to do though is make their API page. It is still just living in that public writer document that you've got to go to each time. There's no URL for it. It is just a writer doc, but nonetheless, great tool. A lot of progress this year.
And still no API limits on Writer, right? They haven't. Is that correct?
No, not for now. The last touch that I got was there are not any for now.
For now. So maybe we should delete that from the show so we don't tip anybody off. Hey, we need to put limits on there. I don't know. Yeah, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, bleep that part out.
Yeah. So good on Zoho WorkDrive. And we're going to wrap it up, the news, with Sridhar's new wheels. This was originally titled Sridhar's new whip. And evidently that's slang for car as well. And I didn't even know, man, how long's that been going on? Where, what in God's name? And I said, no, let's change it to wheels. I'm not that hip. To which he wrote back, what was it? Something was, it was like, what was that? He said to me, I said, I'm not that hip. And he said, bet. So is bet another slang for something?
It's like sure or yes. It's like an affirmative. It's a vague affirmative, let's say.
Sridhar got a new whip. Bet. Is that what we're saying here?
Edit that part out, Wayne.
I am completely behind the times on this. Anyway, hey, Sridhar got a new car and he posted about it. It's a new electric vehicle that can do 55 kilometers an hour. And it's got a 125 kilometer charge or range on a full charge. And it's just kind of a little get around car. And he basically commented on it and had a list of improvements to the CEO of the company, who basically jumped all over that and said, "That's really great. Thanks. We're actually putting our people on it right now." Anyway, this is a cool little car. And I guess, it's just for rural, just kind of getting around, basically small commute, pretty cool. Evidently, India does not have California safety standards for a vehicle on the road, because I don't think you can get that on the road.
No doors necessary. Just get in,
doors. I don't even see a seatbelt, but pretty cool looking vehicle. So anyway, we thought we'd throw that in there. Just a little bit of fun. And with that, Tyler, takes us to our implementation of the week.
Yes, this is one that we built out pretty recently here. It's basically a process if you're working a deal in the CRM, and part of that deal is selling a subscription. It's basically a way to build out a link that can get automatically created for you that can send a customer a custom subscription. So in essence, it's pretty common, right? We'll see that where you're using this deal and you're kind of tracking through all your different stages. And once it's time to actually sell them the subscription, you shoot them that link, they fill it out, but you're losing a lot of different pieces of context, right? Where if there were supposed to be any particular add-ons, right, they can't really add those on the fly as they're signing up. Or let's say you have them in your CRM as Zenatta Consulting and they just fill in Zenatta when they sign up. Well, now you've got a duplicate account. So basically what we did here is we built out a set of custom fields, basically one to choose the plan, and then one field each for every add-on where you can enter in some quantities, right? And then all we need to do is put together a little custom button where once you've selected a plan and you've entered some quantities for add-ons that you'd like to include, you click that button, it refreshes the page and gives you a big old link, right? That's going to pre-fill the plan, pre-fill any of the quantities of add-ons, as well as pre-filling all the different customer information, contact name, email, company name, and then you can send them out that pre-designed link. This is pretty important depending on how you're using subscriptions. For a lot of people, they may have a base subscription, but a lot of customers need specific add-ons, right? I need to increase my storage space. I need permissions for these many users, right? I need to be able to enter in X number of records into the tool every month. And so if you kind of leave that up to the customer where you've sent them an email and you're saying, okay, sign up for a subscription and please remember to add these add-ons, right? You're leaving room for error where you're gonna have to go back and adjust it later. So using this methodology, you can just actually pre-create that link and then send it out with a workflow or with a kind of manual send out to the customer.
Nice. So basically you create the subscription, you create the product, you create all the add-ons. And when they get this, everything's pre-filled.
Yep.
Everything's selected, all the line items selected, the quantities selected, the dollar amounts there, it's all done.
Yep. They can just sign up. They don't have to enter anything but a credit card.
Beautiful. All right. Cool stuff, Tyler. All right. With that, let's get on to this week's reads. This is over on HubSpot, and it is about how Hunter.io got 100 plus mentions in 3 months with a cold outreach. If you're not familiar, Hunter.io is a really cool tool. We use it for a whole lot of stuff. Basically, if you've got a list of emails and that you want to market to, perhaps you had a newsletter, you've got several thousand subscribers, but your newsletter went cold for 3-4 months. You do not just want to start that newsletter back up and send it out, because your bounce rate is probably going to be pretty high because people churn emails, especially if you've waited longer, maybe 6 months or whatever. So you basically can upload your entire list up to Hunter.io, and it's going to go through and tell you, these are great. These are probably okay, and these are no good. And so you can kind of clean up that list before you kind of restart your, your email engagement with people. And what they wanted to do is they wanted to get into something called into listicles. So everybody sees these are articles where it's like top 10 this, top 5 this, and they're of course huge, and they are one of the main ways that people actually find product listings. And so they developed an entire methodology and some great tools in here to get on these lists, reaching out to the people that produce the lists, how to get on them, and they give you a step-by-step guide on how to do it. I think one of the funniest parts in here is down around step 5 or 6 here, they talk about, you might want to really keep a spreadsheet if you to update all of this stuff, or maybe use a CRM. And I think
probably use a CRM.
Yeah. Probably use a CRM. But this is kind of cool. I mean, they really do give you how to go find all the people to put these lists together, how to market to them, how to go out after them, how to negotiate with them to get them on the list. Most of these places, it's a lot of referral stuff, right? Yep. So sure, we're going to throw you on your list, but we want to kick back, kind of thing. Don't trust a lot of these listicles, by the way. But anyway, nice article.
Everything's on the internet's written for a reason, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely a nice little tactic here. Kind of try to go out and find lists that you might be a good fit for, and then just ask, right? I think that's the big takeaway from this, is that if you find that author and you ask to be on their list, some of them are going to say yes. So, figure out who's writing content that could point to you and get out in front of them and see if you can work a deal.
Yeah. It's a funny article here because they're saying do something for them. And of course, they're talking about all sorts of things like, hey, tell them you'll write an article about them. You give them a free consultation. That's not normally how it works. I think the big one on this is mattresses. I read there's like a whole there's a whole expose in the Wall Street Journal that not one of these sites is real. Mm-hmm. They're all basically referral link backs and kind of stuff like that. So, all righty, moving right along. Over on Zenatta.com, we've got an article on Zoho Backstage, a continuous journey to being best in class. I have a feeling this was written as we prepare for our end of the year ZenMe show. We also do a whole look back on year in review. And as you start going through all the months, you'll see you can really start to pick up the apps that have kind of been in this continuous stuff going on. And Backstage is definitely one of those. So this is kind of an article taking you through Backstage's journey this year and all of the enhancements and improvements that they have made to that.
Very nice.
Yeah. And with that, it takes us to our pick of the week. All right. Shout out to Paperflite for Zoho CRM here. This is a super cool application. If you're not familiar with it, so what they've done is Paperflite actually has developed their own integration with Zoho CRM, and it is super, super nice. And I actually got on the phone with the folks at Paperflite the other day. I talked to Varshni, and she was just fantastic and helpful and kind of stepping me through the entire product and how it works. But what you do with Paperflite is you put a whole big content library together, and then you create a collection. So maybe someone is saying, yeah, gosh, I'm really interested in X, Y, and Z. Can you send me some information? And you can just send them an email. And in that email, maybe you've attached a PDF, maybe you've attached a case study, maybe you've attached a price sheet, maybe even attached a proposal to the end. Hey, here's everything you're looking for, and there are all these little attachments at the bottom of the email. With Paperflite, you basically just have a collection page where you have all of these things beautifully displayed. So when someone goes to look at it, they click, they go to a web page. It's custom for them. It's going to have their logo on it. And basically they can go ahead and review these things. The cool part about it is it tracks every single bit of that engagement. So, did they look at the case study? Did they look at the price sheet? Did they watch the video? How long did they watch the video for? All of these kind of things. And so super easy to do. If you've got a whole bunch of YouTube videos, you basically can export that list and then import those URLs. And so they've got the embed, they're doing the tracking. You can have blog articles, you can just upload those. So if you've got a web article, anything you want to show, right? Something from the web, something from YouTube, a actual physical PDF document, all those kind of things. You can basically put them into your content library, add them into a collection, and easily share and engage with your clients. And the way that works is if you actually are in the CRM and once you've got the entire thing set up, it's just super, super easy for you just to, from within an email or that you're sending to a client, you basically, a little Paperflite logo shows up and you can go ahead and choose the collection you want, and it will add that little URL directly in, and you can put that into your emails. And it works on mass emails as well. So nice. It basically, when you send a mass email out, it's going to append every single one of those URLs so that it can know what client it was sent to and individually track what you've sent to them, which ones look at it, which ones don't.
Oh, that's
so
beautiful.
Cool stuff.
Yeah. That's really nice.
Yeah.
We could use that, honestly.
Yeah.
How much content we have on our website. It's pretty nice.
It's bizarre. So believe it or not, I actually was EVP of a company called Bridge Metrics earlier this decade or last decade. And we had a product called ZingDocs, which essentially was this product, but it was like a subproduct of a subproduct. And they tried to make it into a product. And I don't know what happened to it, but these people actually made it into a product. And it's super cool. You can even embed, we had done something, didn't we do something in Creator where you're going through and it actually goes into Zoho Sign, grabs the sign link, and then immediately presents that signed document on the page without having to email it to them, right?
Yeah.
You could even do something like that with this, which is generate sign link, right, for this document, and then put that in here. And you could even put a contract in there to sign as well, all within this with all the information. But super cool. So they're going to set us up. Actually, you said we could use it. I told them I'd love to see a demo of this, or for us to have a demo account. We're going to look at that. But kudos to Paperflite. Super nice integration. I love it when companies go out and write their own integrations. They do a super nice job of that. So cool stuff. All right. And that takes us to our tip of the week, which is tips of the week. A whole bunch of these. So basically we dropped 4 of these a couple of days ago, all on Zoho Recruit. Candidate pipeline, job board integration, creating forms and assessments, creating a job opening. So they're all 3 to 7 minutes long. And it just kind of fills out a lot of our stuff on Zoho Recruit. We had a whole bunch of stuff when we did that. So our tips of the week keep rolling on in, Tyler.
Very nice.
And with that, let us jump to our Q&A. Before we do that, if you haven't already, please subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/Zenatta, or head over to zenatta.com/newsletter and subscribe to our newsletter as well. Not or, both. Do both. Help us out.
Why not?
Never miss any Zoho news. All right. And that takes us to our YouTube questions. Tyler, we are asked, does books have profit center to capture a profits from a particular division within the organization? Ideally, we need to have tags in both expenses and income. Is that possible? Yes, now it is. They just, it is. Yes, you can do that. So he was looking at our 2020 books full tutorial. I guess it's time for us to do a 2022 tutorial.
Probably. Yep.
And kind of update all the changes. You can use tags, but then they have subtags and other tags. Now you've got tags for both expenses and income. You didn't used to have that before. So now, yes, you can.
And also
do
too,
that.
we've done this for clients as well, based on like chart of account mapping. So like it kind of depends on how things are broken down for you. But if like specific items should have their revenue attributed to a specific division, you can set up revenue accounts within that division. And then expenses can also be logged against expense accounts that are unique to a division. So you kind of do it a couple ways, like with tags, with different charts of accounts and pull reports on those. So you've got a couple different options there.
Cool stuff. And got a question, basically our PageSense tutorial that we did. Ray wants to know, what is the WordPress plugin for PageSense? There isn't one, Ray, but what you do if you want to do this is you get the WordPress plugin for Sales IQ, and you can actually drop the code snippet that you get for PageSense into that. And you can have both in there. You can put your Sales IQ, just leave a line spacer, drop in the other. I mean, at one time, I think I had like 6 snippets of code going in here. We were tracking so much stuff going on.
Because really all that Sales IQ plugin does is add a piece of code to the footer of every page. And so just whatever code you put in there is going to go into every page.
And there's probably a better plugin you could find, I would imagine, if you want to just search WordPress for basically something that is going to, add code to all pages for tracking purposes. So, and this just cracked me up. So Daniel wanted to tell us that he had some more Cobra news for us. So he actually reached out.
This Cobra thing is really becoming a through line, on the show.
It truly is. And this was just a 38-second video about a poor snake that ate itself. So it basically started eating its tail, and it was kind of a mess. So if you find a snake in distress like this, there's a handy tip here, which is if you just put hand sanitizer on its nose, it'll wig out and barf its tail out, which is what he's about to do if you're watching the video with us live. Wow. So anyway,
we're going to get copyright striked on YouTube for this one.
I don't know about that. Who knows? Anyway, there it is. So more quasi Cobra news. I think it's king snake or something. But anyway, moving right along. And with that, we'll wrap up the show, Tyler. As always, if you have any questions or comments, head over to zenatta.com and drop us a line.
On the website is where you'll find complete episodes as well as show notes with links to all the stories we discussed today. We'd love if you would follow us on your favorite social media platform and subscribe to us on your favorite podcast app, as well as on YouTube. See you next Monday.